Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan, and this is your JIS news for Monday, September 9, 2024. 3 more families now have the security of shelter thanks to the government's new social housing program, NSHP. On Friday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness delivered units to the latest beneficiaries in Kingston and St. Andrew. Among them, Richard Edwards, his brother, nephew and aunt, who lived in a house that was collapsing. They received a 3-bedroom unit in central Kingston. Barbican resident Ronald Arboyne is now the proud owner of a 2-bedroom home. Mr. Arboyne, who is disabled and unemployed, was previously living out of an abandoned car while his daughter stayed at different homes. The 3rd house recipient, Karen Francis, expressed gratitude for the opportunity to move out of the unstable board house she previously occupied with her 6 children. The Callaloo resident now has a stable 2-bedroom home. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says beyond providing shelter, the NSHP is about reducing poverty and improving people's standard of living.
There's always frustration with government. Things take too long, things don't get done efficiently. But you can judge the effectiveness of government by how it focuses its effort on ensuring that the persons who are the most vulnerable, the most impacted, how government tries to assist them. And what this program is, it is targeted to assisting the most vulnerable in housing.
The government's Rebuild Jamaica initiative brought relief to residents of Portland and Montego Bay last week. Persons whose homes were damaged during July's passage of Hurricane Beryl received cash grants to help undertake repairs. Over 70 beneficiaries in Portland were presented with their checks during a ceremony at Hotel Tim Bamboo. Scores of Montego Bay residents received their cash grants during a handing over function at the Montego Bay Civic Center. Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. says there is additional comprehensive support that the beneficiaries will receive.
In addition to the distribution of these checks, which are grants, meaning you don't have to work for it and you don't have to pay it back, some of the more vulnerable in the categories that have received more damage and negative impact will receive additional support through the World Food Program. And in 2 weeks, some of you will get a text message from the UN World Food Program telling you the additional cash grant that you will receive.
In the meantime, he is urging persons to think carefully about how and where they rebuild to mitigate future dislocation.
Rebuild Jamaica has to be about a mindset change, about how you think, about how you prepare yourself. And so I want to encourage you that you start to think about where you live. Think about how you live. Think about your safety.
The Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC will be opening applications for 6-stage carriage sub-franchise routes in the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region KMTR on October 1. Minister of Transport Beryl made the announcement during the last post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. He says the routes will be serviced by coaster buses and will cover the communities of Shortwood, Barbican, Duane Park, Whitehall, Havendale and Harbourview, all terminating in downtown Kingston via Halfway Tree. Additionally, 11 route taxi licenses will also be issued on September 18. 6 will be based out of St. William Grant Park in downtown Kingston, headed to Norman Gardens, Rennock Lodge, Crossroads, Vineyard Town, Rollington Town, and Franklin Town. The other 5 will head to 3 Miles, Papine, Chancery Street, Duane Park, and Windward Road, coming from Halfway Tree. Minister Vaz is urging illegal hackney carriage operators on these routes to get the required route taxi licenses.
Hackney carriage operators are invited to apply for conversion to a route taxi license starting now up to March 25 in the first instance. The operators who refuse to convert their licenses to route taxis and continue to operate illegally will face the law.
Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams is reminding schools that the payment of fees for student enrollment is not mandatory. The minister's remarks come as a reaffirmation of the government's commitment to ensuring equitable access to education. She underscores that while contributions from parents are encouraged, no student should be denied access to education due to an inability to pay the fees set by some schools.
No child should be barred from school for non-payment of fees. We understand that there are some fees for items that you have to purchase, of course, yes. But for the other part of it, the government has clearly articulated that it is non-mandatory.
The minister was addressing last week's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. She further highlighted that the Ministry of Education was prepared to provide additional resources or differentiated funding where necessary, provided there was proper justification and documentation. Looking ahead, she says the ministry will unveil the final versions of the nutrition and the dress and grooming policies during this academic year. And finally, the 3-year Jamaica-China Sports Technical Exchange Program has been successfully completed. Student athletes from 6 sporting disciplines, including swimming and women's football and gymnastics, recently concluded a 2-month training camp in China. There, they were exposed to China's advanced training methodologies and some of the best coaches in the world.
The coaches really were invested. They took the time to know our athletes. They took the time to properly evaluate the athletes, and consequently they made adjustments in the training plan once they would have evaluated the athletes. And so this demonstrated to me that there was careful thought given to what was happening. It was not just following a program. They were intentional in ensuring that there was an improvement for our athletes.
A total of 135 athletes took part in the training camp. The program, which started in 2018, was due for completion in 2020 but was interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.